I'm Jim, W6LG, your ham radio Elmer. Welcome to my radio room here in Rockland, California. And with me is Ben, VE6SFX. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, Jim?
All right. All right, Ben, tell me about you. How
Um,
long you been a ham radio operator?
10 months now.
Yeah. And you're hardy designing. Well, that may be an advantage. What caught what caught my attention is I was watching a video of yours, and there was this hand, just the
Yeah.
hand, and it was walking along the table, and then at the end it made a gesture. And who is this guy? And then I started watching, and you're making um, antennas that are different. So tell me about what are the antennas you're working on now? What's what
I
would you?
don't sit still very well. So what antennas am I working on? I've got like a Yagi, some slot antennas for 2 and 6 meters, and a JPole, a fabric JPole that I've come up with. Yeah, so like if you look at my background, I do props and special effects for movies. But if you go back a little further, I was sort of a freelance engineer, and the problems that I've had in the past is that I'll design stuff up and take it to some manufacturer and they'll look at me and go, that can't be made. And that usually involves me going, oh, okay, so I got to go and make it myself. And I don't think or look at things the way most people do. So I do a lot of unconventional building, and antennas is this great opportunity to to show people that, like, you're not stuck to copper pipe and wire. There's a lot more other things that you can use.
Yeah, speaking of copper pipe, I as a group we built several J poles, and so we went to the hardware store, bought a bunch of copper tubing and
Mhm.
tubing cutters, and we all kind of puzzled over how does that work. And then was explained to us a couple of different ways, and finally it sort of made some sense. And it was we put one up at the hospital where I was working, and one at the county hall of administration. But it was kind of a big deal. It was.
Mhm.
So you've come up with a what antenna?
A fabric antenna.
No, you
So
can't make an antenna out of fabric.
no, absolutely you can. So here's the thing is that a lot of people get stuck with a few things that happen with people's minds is they look at something and they go, that's fabric, it can't be an antenna, just like you said. And what they don't take into account is that there's things like, say, Faraday cloth, and Faraday cloth is conductive, and Faraday cloth can be crumpled up. And so, I started going, well, I wonder if I could make an antenna out of it. It's a
Does
conductive.
it uncrumple when you pull it apart,
Yeah.
or
Like literally, here's one of my antennas, just smash it up, and
so
it's
if I needed to respond somewhere, I could shove that in my pocket and off I go. I've got an antenna,
yeah,
which is
no,
not
exactly.
not which is not so easy to do with how long is that? J pole is about 57 inches or so. Let's see, three times
Yeah,
19. Yeah,
so meter and a
about
half or 2 meters.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's a meter? And then it won't fit in my pocket. I know.
No, it's true. And the thing is that you need to fold it up. So if you go back, this is also, you go further back in Ben's life, and I worked in search and rescue teams and in emergency services, and I understand these issues that people have. And even further back, you go, I was in the military, and I did take communications courses. And antennas has always been a pain in the butt. Like, either you have this giant whip that's flopping around, or you've got to set something up with all sorts of different hardware. And I don't think it's necessary. And here's one thing that a lot of people have asked me about my antennas is like, how many watts can it take? It's just fabric. Like, what can it? And the unique property about fabric is that it lets air through, so it cools itself very, very easily. I've run 50 watts digital through this thing,
Really?
continuous, for like 5 minutes, and I have a FLIR camera that was looking at it,
Hmm.
and there was no noticeable difference. The only hot spot was the B and C connector, not nothing else. The antenna is fine.
I'll be darned. That's interesting. I I'm thinking that your antennas, with some small modification, are really good for search and rescue that are non-amateur things. For example, around here, the sheriff's department said around 150
Mhm.
or 152 megahertz, and so on a search and rescue where they're, some things beacon still, all of those things are potential great uses for one of your antennas. I,
Well, and you can't stop that. And I do apologize. I get excited to interrupt people. Maybe it's a bit rude. But the thing is that when you start looking at using the Faraday cloth for stuff, and it's, I've got a JPole. Well, a lot of people would stop there. But if you look at slot antennas or you look at a Yagi, so one of my other videos is how to make a Flaggy. Now, or I call it a
I'm
Flaggy.
sorry, back up a second. One of
Yeah.
my other videos is how to make a what?
It's a Yagi antenna that's
Yeah.
also fabric, and I nicknamed it the Flaggy. You got to have a little bit of humor in it. And I've got one here,
Oh,
and
cool.
so you can. I think your audience can kind of put together what that is. But this thing
Sure.
weighs. It's a piece of cloth with some other cloth on it and a wire. So it weighs nothing. So you can look at a J pole has good gain, but it's not necessarily the best. It's definitely better than a rubber ducky, right? But
Oh, yeah, heavens,
maybe
yeah.
not the best. And if you're doing mountain ops and you want to point towards a base station, you need something like a Yagi, but you can't bring all those elements and all those poles and try to set that up, especially in an emergency situation. So with the Flaggy, you can set it up in the frame that I have, but you could also just tape it to a ski pole or something and point it out towards something. And now you have the forward gain that you would with a Yagi, and it weighs it. I honestly
Well,
I haven't weighed it yet, but my J poles weigh 1.4 ounces. I'm thinking these things are going to be I figure about a quarter pound by max. So like say 6 ounces maybe max.
now you said a
Um,
J-pole has some gain. I don't know that it does. Definitely the Yagi does in the range
yeah.
of 6 dB or so. In any case, that may not matter because a guy can put it in his backpack. Because when you're going to an emergency thing, which I've done a few times, and got a
Mhm.
few awards on the wall, you look at, okay, I got to have water. All right, there's 8 pounds of water. Now that's 16 pounds of water.
Oh my
So
God, yeah.
every ounce after that, okay, I want to take a sandwich or something so I can eat, and that weighs more. And then pretty
Yeah.
soon you're running out of room. I mean, the handy talkie like this. By the way, I did order another one to test. um, it, I want to see how dirty, if it is, to see how dirty the
Mhm.
output is. So this doesn't weigh much,
Nope.
and it's a necessity. But but you want to carry extra batteries, so you carry extra set of batteries or
Yeah.
battery, and then I think I'd be inclined to carry a really lightweight coax. There's some that is very efficient at UHF, even though it's a really small diameter because it's a Teflon dielectric and it's double shielded, silver plated. I can't think of the name. It's not RG174, but it's like that. It's about that
Very
size.
cool.
Yeah. And so if you could get, you can buy on Amazon a chunk of that, like a 6 feet chunk
Yep.
to go or 20 feet. Yeah. Cool. So have you tried that antenna? Have you, have
Yeah.
you, and what happened when you tried it?
So this is where things get surprising is that like I haven't experienced a regular Yagi, like a tape measure Yagi or something, and I'm sure that it would get similar results. But given what this was made of in my video, I got 88 kilometers, so just let's say 50 miles. 50 miles straight shot, full quieting to a repeater and back. And on the video, there's one hit that I do that's 174 kilometers. So what? That's
100 miles?
seven,
No,
yeah,
120
close,
miles.
close. Yeah. And the thing is I was hitting the repeater. They could hear me full quieting. It was the fact that I couldn't, my radio, which was just a handset, couldn't reach it. And all of this was done on like say 5 to 8 watts. So when you start looking at the power and the antenna and me hand holding it, that's for me, it was pretty damn thrilling.
That's another thing. If you want the, because like when we were at a fire way outside and we're trying to communicate with the county headquarters, um, every watt that I'd have to put into whatever I was using, in that case it was an ICOM handheld, meant the battery was going to die sooner. So with one of the, let's say this would run 10 watts.
Yep,
If I can dial it down to 1 watt and make the distance, I can make the batteries last longer. And the only way I can
absolutely.
get maybe that extra distance is with an antenna that's more efficient. And am in the process of doing a YouTube video on things like this. And actually,
Well,
here's one without. This is a
oh, that's very cool. Yeah, you were talking about that before, and yeah, that's very awesome.
yeah. So that happens to be an ICOM.
But here's the thing with this too, is a lot of people don't take this into account, is that on search and rescue, and I do apologize, I'm going to have to work on my camera. Um, when you work in search and rescue and stuff like that, it's not going to be the only electronic equipment you have with you, right? And you might have heart monitors and stuff like that.
Right.
When you
Yeah.
key up these things, they can desense whatever you have, even if they're not a wireless device. They can cause enough issues that a heart monitor or who knows what piece of equipment you have is going to be damaged by too many watts coming from your radio. So you have to be cognizant that the communications person sometimes doesn't need to be or can't be near the person helping the casualty.
Right.
That being said, is sometimes you're the
I gotcha.
communications person and the
Yeah.
medic, and you can only do one thing at a time. So lowering the power is a definite win.
It is. And you're also, in some cases, depending on which antenna, you may be directing the power away.
Yep.
Or if you, in the case of the JPole, you can just simply move over to another tree. Hanging it from a tree is brilliant. And it doesn't weigh anything. So you could probably tie down both ends and you're good to go.
Well, beyond that is that I started taking a look at like shoulder straps on like backpacks, and
Yep.
you want them adjustable, right? So I
Hmm.
have it so that it's a tab that you can adjust, and you can hang it from either side or both and tighten it up. But like the final adjustment, like if you're tying something down, you can never seem it's like tying a load to your truck. You never seem to be able to get the ropes tight enough to hold everything. You always need that last little cinch. This will give you that last little cinch. So being able to, have a nice straight element, and if there's a wind load or anything like that, you can take care of it by just tightening it up a little bit.
Now, have you decided to sell any of these? Because some of them, they look simple, but they're not. Because there's a lot of um, this trial and error, cut and try, that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
have you thought about selling them? And if so, what have you decided to do?
Well, so I put out an email, or not an email, but a video saying, hey, if you're interested in me building some of these, maybe I can. I just wanted to see if there was a market for it. And I started an email list. And in the first day, I got 300 people interested. So that kind of
Really?
made me go, you know what?
Hmm.
Maybe people want to do this. And uh,
300? Did you say 300?
yeah, yeah, I've
Holy
got
mackerel.
300. They're not true orders, but they're tentative orders.
Yeah. In
And
case, go ahead.
but the you know there's a few things where, like you said, is that you can put this together. In fact, I show people like, here's the plans, and you can go and get the plans for like $5 at Ham Radio Rookie
Hmm.
and be able to build your own. But a lot of people don't want to go through that. And I totally understand that. There's a lot of people that just want to use the radio. They don't want to necessarily build their gear. And I can build it, so why not? So I've started making, like, I've got a short run of 50 that I'm making currently and going to be selling. And then after that's sort of been a proven deal, then I'm going to go and try to fulfill the other 300. The um yeah, and the reason why I haven't been producing videos on my site is that, wow, it takes a lot to set up a small business for just
Yeah,
one antenna. It's crazy, the infrastructure involved in something like that. So,
it is.
I'm kind of learning as I go. But yes, they are going to be for sale, and it's not going to be under Ham Radio Rookie. I decided that if I was going to make antennas for sale, I needed a different name. So I have Velocity Factor Communications, and the URL will be vfcoms.com. And it isn't set up yet. It should be going live here, I'm hoping sometime late next week. And by that point in time, I'm going to email my or get onto my email list and let people know the first 50 are available and get that out there. And with the 50, let's see if I got this. No, I don't. I'm gonna add your call sign. So I'm gonna do an iron-on label of your call sign onto the antenna. So it's a little vanity thing. It kind of bragging rights. If you're at a campsite and you hang it up, people know exactly who you are because it's right there on your antenna.
That sounds really good. I keep thinking, well, there's military applications, all
Mhm.
kinds of stuff for uh, a simple antenna that you can roll up, wad up into a ball,
Yep.
stick it into a bag or something.
Yep.
Um, yeah. Well, that's very interesting.
And
Um,
that another thing that eats up a lot of your time, and I'm kind of the guy that would never. So I've worked as a freelance engineer for many, many years, like just about 15 years before I got into the movie industry. And I've worked on many patent systems and stuff. And the problem with patents is that your patent is only as good as the lawyer you can afford, right?
that's right.
So if you're just a small beans guy, it really doesn't make sense. And this is the first time in my life where I looked at something I've invented and thought, yeah, I better do something about that. So I've got a provisional filing so
Good.
that, I'm kind of holding it onto my own. And I want people, like, if you can make it yourself, please do. If you want to innovate on this, absolutely. I love to see that. All I'm asking is things like the JPole and stuff, don't make and sell them. Let me be the person to sell them.
Yeah.
And you're more than willing, if you want to make one or a dozen and give them out to friends, please do. But just let me be the guy to sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Anything you want to, now you got more videos coming, and I think as new videos come out, I'd like to chat with you about what you've designed. For example, can you hold up the slot antenna? Do you have that there?
Yeah. Oh, I've I'm surrounded by antennas.
Good. Now,
So,
when I look at that, I go, how the hell does that work?
right. So,
And
Errol, put it right there. We go.
there you go. It's
So
a
this
hat.
is a 2 meter slot, right? And John Portune in ARRL, and and
W6NBC.
his
Yeah.
YouTube, yeah, he's an amazing guy. I've chatted
Yep.
with him a few
It's
times,
brilliant.
and
Yep.
he did like a box slot, and so I did a box slot on my YouTube channel, which is this guy. So all this is it's a slot, but it's folded up.
It
So
reminds me of a
suddenly
kite, a square kite that somebody might, yeah.
yeah. And that's definitely something I'm kind of looking at is flying an
That would
antenna.
be a hoot, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
thinking that if you take a handset and you do a uh, a band crossover, so you do 70 centimeter to 2 meter repeater
Mm.
in a handset, you strip the radio down to nothing. You put the radio inside of the kite, like say if you do a parafoil, then you can use the fabric to make the antenna, send that kite up. Then all you need is a ground station to talk at 70 centimeters to your radio, which then repeats out at 2 meters to whatever you have. And I think the range on something like that will be
Oh, it'd be
insane.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to do kite sailing and kiteboarding and stuff. So I know how to make kites that will lift me. So a little handset shouldn't be a big issue. I also know that I can get kites up, if you got the right line, you can send it to the stratosphere. Now air traffic control might not like you, but
That's right. We have a unidentified. Yeah.
yeah,
All right. I have to go to an appointment in a few minutes. Is there,
right.
and this has been sort of our initial meeting.
Yeah.
I hope that as you come up with new antennas, that you and I can get together and talk about what you've got. And also, are you accepting orders? I know you said you had 300 inquiries. Are you literally accepting orders at this point?
I'm not accepting orders, but I'm making an email list. So if you want on
Okay.
the email list, you'll be the first one to know when they're available. And there are a few that are already covered. So I've got, yeah, like I said, I want to get 50 out and make sure that it's not just some sort of pipe dream and I haven't completely lost my mind and everybody agrees that this is a good
That's
antenna, right?
you may have. All
right?
right. What is the email address for those who want to be on the wait list for the antenna to come out?
Um, you know what? I'll make a special post on my it's hamradiorookie.com would be the best place to go.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
could it be like antenna at hamradiorookie.com or
Yeah, I could do something like that or um hmm,
anyway? Um,
the best I know how to do this. Okay. The best way to get onto the email list is go to my YouTube channel, which is the Ham Radio Rookie. If you look that up, you'll find me right away. And there's
okay.
the video on it's hard to miss is look for an antenna in the thumbnail that looks just like this.
Yeah.
In the description, there's a link to the email list, and that's the best way to get it. And you can also
Okay.
see how it's built.
Good. All right. Well, it's been great to talk to you. Unfortunately, my time is running short, but as I said, hold a little time open so I can talk again as you get some more ideas. Things like the Yagi and other stuff interest me. I think that has a huge range of applications,
Hmm.
and I as the whole line of products. So I think they're going to be good for government purchases of various sizes, cities, counties, that kind of a thing.
I've already
Because
been approached by a defense contractor and search and rescue. So,
good,
yeah,
good, excellent. All right, Ben, nice to talk to you. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me, and we'll
absolutely.
do that. We'll do this again. I'm looking up at you some of the time because you're on a monitor up here
Yep.
because I couldn't get the monitor down here to work. So next time I'll have that fixed.
I
Ben,
wouldn't worry about it.
all right, Ben, take care. Thanks a lot, and best of luck. I think you've got some marvelous ideas, and in one of the videos, I want you to do the hand or
I
add
got
it.
to get the hand. So that the hand actually right now is in Denver. So, I'll have to see about
Did it
getting.
walk all the way there to Denver?
Do you know how many batteries it would take to get down
That's
there?
right.
No.
Um, see, there's one other thing. Oh yeah, I'll put a link to your YouTube channel.
Mhm.
If you could do the same towards me, and
Oh, absolutely.
we'll go from there. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
I think you got a hell of an idea, and I keep thinking, fabric antennas will never work, but you made it
Mm,
work.
yeah, and I'm kind of excited over the prospect of chatting with you because you've got the years of experience and I've got a bunch of crazy ideas and I'm a new guy. And I think my advantage is I don't know what I don't know. Your advantage is that you know the stumbling blocks I'm going to come against. And you're also going to laugh because you're going to tell me that there's this stumbling blocks and or this stumbling block and don't do it. And I'll probably either land on my face or maybe surprise you. But I think a lot of people could learn by taking the new guy and the old guy. You throw them together, and magic can happen when you do stuff like that. So the
Yeah,
idea
and
of
it will.
chatting with you on a
Yeah.
regular basis actually really excites me.
Okay, good. Me too. All right, Ben, take care. Say hi to
Yeah.
everybody, and see you the next time, which I hope will be in the next 10 days or so.